What's up, guys? This is Hyce, and welcome to Office Hours for May. Right? I promise it's May. I promise time's not fake. Yes, we originally had this scheduled for the end of last month, and then it didn't work. So, what else is new? Here we are. I don't know. I was telling myself that I'd try and do two of these. One of these more friendly for U.S. time zones, one more friendly for Eastern time zones, you know, over in Europe and all that things, before I go to Croatia in a couple weeks here. But I'm not going to make any promises. We'll see. Lots to do before we go. So, anyways, guys, good to see everyone here tonight. We're going to be answering all of your railroad questions. As always, I've got the list of things pulled up from many YouTube posts ago. And then as well, you're always welcome to ask things in chat as we go. So I'm going to jump into Discord. It looks like we've got Northwesterner here, and we'll see if anyone else jumps in as things go. But anyway.
Hello.
Pacific Productions. Hey, hi, sorry to sour the mood at the start of the stream, but I was wondering if I heard of the incident involving CPKC 2816. Yeah, unfortunately, I did hear about that. It was pretty terrible. It's one of those unfortunate things that happens, and is a reality of working on the railroad, is that people get too close and people get hit. It's an unfortunate truth that it is pervasive anywhere. It's an issue regardless. Obviously, the extra crowd and everything. Seeing the locomotive is a whole nother thing, but it happened way too many times in my time on the railroad that we had to respond to that sort of thing happening. So it's a tragedy, but that's also part of the reality. So everyone's been asking if I've heard anything. I didn't really have anything. There was no commentary to talk about it. I mean, it would be an excuse to grandstand about railroad safety, I suppose, if I made a video, but it was one of those things that you hate to hear about, but it's one of those things that also happens. So listen to the messaging out there and make sure you're sticking away from the tracks. That's the best thing that I could tell you. So anyways, thanks for the $5 though. Appreciate you. Nathan Copeland, Brakeman, 3 months. Hi, Hyce. What are the dimensions of Montezuma? I don't know them off the top of my head. That's what I have CAD for. Vaguely 35 feet long, vaguely 10 feet tall, and maybe 9-ish feet wide? No, probably not even 9 feet wide. It's probably more like 8 feet wide. I don't know. I'd have to go measure a bunch of crap in SolidWorks. It's pretty small. Goofy Critter, Brakeman, 16 months. Would it make sense for an Amtrak train to get NS power? Horsepower hours. It's a thing that happens everywhere all the time. Locomotives get shared across different companies, and it's literally just a share pool thing of horsepower hours. If Amtrak needed a locomotive, didn't have a locomotive, and NS had a spare one, they could they could buy the time for that much horsepower for that many hours and run it, and then either they pay for that amount to NS or they owe NS reciprocal. And so that's why you'll end up seeing locomotives on different railroads and all sorts of stuff like that. I don't know if Amtrak specifically has extra regs and extra things about that being the passenger carrier and being run by the government, but I don't know. Redline Overload Productions, Brakeman, 13 months. Favorite roadkill car? It's General Mayhem for me. General Mayhem's pretty great. I do quite like that. I mean, that's the one that got me into the show. I don't know if I can name that many of their other cars off the top of my head, though. So, good question, though. I guess I just picked General Mayhem before they swapped it to the Hellcat. The Hellcat was great, but I liked it with the motorhome engine in it. Jackson Wages, what did I tell you about reading my messages? That was the last one. Come on. Walker Colt, Fireman for 19 months. Hey, Hyce, thanks for the content. And my question is to you is what caused rotary OM to be mechanically ruined, and how bad was the damage from the snow recovery of 491? 491 wasn't too bad. I don't remember what it was in the story that chewed up OM. The biggest thing with OM was that it was ancient. It was one of the oldest rotaries that the Grand still had in service, if not the oldest. Largely wooden housing, wooden frame, that sort of stuff, and just this slog of trying to push through that much stuff wore it down. So I don't think it was any singular thing, going back and checking the story. Abe Lincoln. Hello, Hyce. Hope your day's going well. Thank you. Been busy, but we're enjoying it here. So anyway. Jordan Freeman, conductor 15 months. Regarding the latest three-quarter show, if the railroad is making so much money on mail, why didn't they run the mail as first section and passengers as second section? Because passengers care about schedule and mail doesn't. Precise schedule. Mail, as long as it's there before certain deadlines and certain times, yes, but a little bit different. So.
Yeah, if you miss the post office contract, the post office is going to be very mad at you.
Yes, but as long as it's there on that day, they're not going to complain that they're 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess. I don't honestly know why they would pick one over the other, but that'd be my quick guess. Because, yeah, usually it'd be the head-end cars, so you'd think that would be at the front, but whatever. Luke Sheldon, you once said heavier train, less likely to slip. This came up, I was filming Derail Valley for next week today, and it actually came up in this episode. And it's a very nuanced thing. It's more so about your ability to pull the stick to full as the engineer. If you've got a heavier train, you can have the throttle open further, and you can be trying to apply more power without slipping. That said, you don't get any more friction on the locomotive. Like, you're not gaining the ability to pull more because you've got more behind you. So it's a nuanced thing about overcoming the friction that you do have, right? Because a wheel slip starts when you overcome the amount of friction that the locomotive has, the amount of adhesion it has. If you go past that amount of force, you're going to wheel slip. But that force is combined with the resistance of the train behind you. So it's easier to apply more and more force and not overcome that. So when you've got 10 cars behind you in the locomotive, you can pull the throttle out a lot further, put down a lot more power right away than you can with a short train. Blech. So it's a very nuanced thing. Hopefully that made sense. Morpheor, conductor 16 months, 2:20 a.m. here and watching Hyce. Couldn't imagine anything better. I guess 6 hours ahead. You have no idea where you'd be if you're only 6 hours ahead. Although I guess maybe you could be in the west of the UK, but or perhaps Ireland. But glad you're here. Thank you, friend. Nathan Copeland, with a little bit of disassembly, Montezuma could fit in the back of a U-Haul. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's a small choo-choo. Pacific Productions. Quick, Barnacle Boy, to the invisible caboose mobile! You've been wanting to say that a bit since the last episode of the three-quarter show. I'm glad. That thumbnail, Wings and Strings, is too powerful with their thumbnails. That one was just an absolute treat. So, yeah. Devil 6060. Hi, Hyce. Have I seen the video of what happened to the women that 2816 hit? Yes, I have. Yeah, that's not a fun one. Don't go look for it. Virtual Railfan Productions, engineer for 23 months in terms of rail safety. If I remember, you've already done a video on this after the incident with 475. Yeah, unfortunately, that incident had a little bit more that we could teach. Unfortunately, there's not really much we can do in this case. So, anyway, I've got a pile of questions that folks have asked in advance, and we'll hopefully get through some of them here so we can ask for another bout. You always have to pay attention to the posts on the YouTube page, so because I want to make sure that everyone can get a question answered, even if they're not paying for them right away and they're not members. So try to be a little bit egalitarian there. Anyway. From Rambling Railfan, were combine cars usually pointed baggage area first or passenger area first? And would RPO cars be in front or behind baggage cars? I don't know if there was any specific rule of thumb for combines, other than you'd probably try to keep the passenger areas continuous. So if your combine's at the front, you'd probably have it baggage first, but if it's at the back for some reason, which happens, you'd probably have it baggage rearward? But I don't know if there's a standard practice for that, for sure. But good question. And RPOs would usually be separate entirely and ahead towards the front end because they're usually not pass-through. In some eras they were, but the U.S. mail had lots of opinions about things and made it so that you couldn't pass through and get to the mail and reinforce the ends of the cars. So if it wasn't a pass-through car, it wasn't going to be in the middle of the train. So good question. Let's see. Officers' questions, and I don't see who actually asked these. I managed to lose the person's name here. So sorry about that, but anyway. Does Hyce have any foamer horror stories? And what is Hyce's favorite of humbling a know-it-all newbie who joins the Railroad Museum? I haven't really gotten to humble anyone that's joined us at the museum as a volunteer. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Because most people have actually had a really good attitude when they start with us. So, I don't know. There's no specific instant. Usually it's a lot of folks will be really, really excited, want to talk a bunch, want to share everything they know, and they slowly kind of realize that they don't know things, and then they start learning instead, and you kind of slowly see that transition that way. I've not had a singular incident of, you're a dumbass, and this is the way it really is, that I can think of. That said, I do have at least one foamer. I wouldn't call it a horror story, but a kid riding the Cumbres and Toltec and just saying that he knew exactly what was happening and why things were bouncing around and whatever, because he knew exactly what the engineer was doing because he had played Microsoft Train Simulator. And I was like, oh yeah, bud. Sure. It's like, oh yeah, see? He set up the brakes, and that's why our car ran into the next car in front of it. It's like, well, no, actually, you could, if you have run 6ET before, you could have heard that he released the automatic, and that was the sound, and based on the track profile, that's why we rolled into the car in front of us. But sure, just keep believing your train sim experience is 1,000% infallible. So that's the only foamer horror story I could think of. What advice would Hyce give to rail fans, such as safety and minding your P's and Q's? Stay the fuck off the tracks. Screams. If you're on ballast, you're too close. UP advertises 25 feet back. If there's some sort of barrier between you and the tracks, fence, something like that, that's a fine start, but I mean, there's really no harm in going further away. You're not going to get a much different experience being that much closer to the locomotive. It's still going to be awe-inspiring. You'll get a better appreciation of it if you're just a little further back anyways. So, you know, stay the heck back and don't trespass on railroad property. Like, find a nice, safe space that you can access as the public and go enjoy it there. There's plenty of ways to do that at almost every railroad that I can think of. So, and then enjoy it and have fun, but make sure you're staying safe with that stuff. And then the last question from this individual: when it comes to O-gauge, does Hyce lean more towards scale or semi-scale trains, or is it in the middle? Can't seem to pick between the two because you love traditional O27 and scale equipment. I'm all over the place too. Most of my stuff is, I think, semi-scale. The full-size O stuff just takes up so much space. That's pretty hard for me to do. I mean, I'm just playing with Lionels on the floor, basically, but I don't really have a hardcore need for perfect scale in O. So, anyway. Let's see, back to the top chat stuff here. Rutger Lamberson: Professor Hyce had a friend ask me how steam whistles work on a locomotive, how steam is supplied to the whistle, and from where in the boiler. Wow, that is a fantastic case of it depends, drink. This is just water, but anyway. It significantly depends depending on the locomotive. Some locomotives have tapped directly straight into the steam dome. Some locomotives have them off of the superheater header, superheater turret up at the front. Some of them just have a bung that's in the boiler and just plumbs straight into the boiler. It really varied by road. the Ks on the narrow gauge, the K36s, have an elbow sticking out the steam dome. Then there's the whistle there. The little engines have the whistles on top of the steam dome because they have the ability to have that extra height. And then the K37s were so big in overall profile that they had a separate auxiliary turret that was kind of like the main turret, but separate from it, with its own separate steam takeoff. And that's where the safeties and that's where the whistles plumbed out, again with an elbow, because they didn't have the space to plumb it out the side of the dome. So it varies. But most generally, somewhere from the boiler or from a turret, unless it's like huge mainline superpower or whatever, in which case a lot of times then, yes, it is actually plumbed off of the superheater header and the superheater turret. So that's why 844 and 4014 and all those big superpower engines have redonkulously loud screaming 3 chimes. So anyway, good question. Hopefully that answered. Hello, mainline.
I'll be able to be here for a little bit.
These bastards lied to me. Said he wasn't gonna come in, but then here he is.
I'm at a house party and we're there's a little bit of quiet before people start showing up, so I'll be here for a little bit.
I see.
There's a little bit of quiet. Couldn't have scheduled it for a different time.
Well, I tried scheduling it and then it didn't work. So then I decided to not schedule it because the amount of you who've left, I'm sure tongue-in-cheek comments, but the amount of you that are like, you didn't do the schedule. It's like, maybe I shouldn't schedule crap. My stuff is too all over the place. So anyway, that's why, surprise, we're streaming. Anyway, that's what VODs are for. So, from Sir Liv, just want to remind folks that 2816 is probably not just the first steam train, but the first passenger train a lot of folks in Mexico have seen in their lives. The excitement's more than understandable. Certainly, I mean, and it was a big landmark thing that it was doing that in general, that locomotive got to travel across all 3 countries. So it's definitely a big thing to go see. So I can understand the excitement, but yeah, definitely make sure you're keeping the safety piece of it in mind. So, John Deere Boy, member for 24 months. Look at you. Golden frame, golden lamp. Pleased to say that you'll be back to your historic economy destruction with a vengeance once your housing allowance hits. The economy should be very afraid. Okay. Lordy, John Deere Boy, I appreciate you in advance. You don't have to, my friend, but I appreciate you. Let's see. Who's next? Oh god, chat just jumped. A person 723, fireman for 11 months. Hi, Hyce, do you think modern steam turbine electric locomotive would work? Being electric drive, it would allow the turbine to stay at its most efficient speed. A steam turbine electric locomotive? Having the electrical portions of it drive the turbine?
Turbo electric, like a battleship?
So are you talking about using a steam engine or steam turbine to generate electricity to then have an electrically run turbine to mechanically power the running gear? Am I following that?
What?
Because
that sounds right.
That's just the more energy conversions you have to do, the stupider it's gotten. So, could you make it work? I'm sure. Would it make any sense? No. If I'm understanding it right. That's a neat idea, but that sounds like some sci-fi stuff. Anyway. 84mer, this might sound silly, but do you have a good set of blueprints for an AAR Type E coupler? For the life of me, you can't find one with its height. Blueprints for specifically Type E. I don't think I have them off the top of my head. Are you just looking for the height of the overall coupler or the height above rail? Or, yeah, I'm curious what you're looking for. And I wouldn't use... I mean, the AAR should have something themselves, I would assume. But, I don't know. Shoot me an email and I can try and see what I can find. But specifically, I don't have anything off the top of my head, so... Jordan Freeman, have I heard of the Cedartown, Georgia CSX Heritage Units? GP38-2s that got their noses painted in their original paint scheme. I think I've seen videos of that or pictures of that. People have made a stink about those. I don't really care.
Guys, look, they painted the nose.
Yeah. So, anyway. Nickel Plate Road 777. Is there a fun story behind my O-scale DNRGW 484? Yeah, it was called Tristan from Studio 346 and I were wandering around the Loveland train show looking for anything SN3 to help feed my addiction. And not finding anything, and then Tristan proceeded to buy way too much FN3, which was great. And I was hoping, there's not going to be anything for me, and you always kind of like hoping, like, oh, maybe there'll be something cool. And as we found one more FN3 car for him, I came across that M64, it brass done up in O-scale for a pretty good price, and it was like, I didn't even know they made an M64. Those are so cool. And so then I bought that on the spot. So, yeah.
You still owe me a trip to go see it.
It's true.
Hey, Mark. I put a picture of a steam electric locomotive in MOW chat.
That's stupid. Why would you do this? Turbo electric condensing locomotive.
God, that fucking thing.
Why would you... This is so much running gear for something that has no tractive effort.
Oh my god, yeah, it's like... That tractive effort is worse than a C25.
That's wacky looking.
This is so... just overly complicated.
Yeah, that's a little complicated for the sake of everything, so... Thanks for sharing that, though. Super Boo Hedgehog, is there a standard for one side of the drivers to be ahead of the other, i.e. majority locos have left top dead center with right front dead center over back dead center? I don't think that there's any specific standard that says it must be one way or another. There's probably more of them that are one way or another, but as long as they're 90 degrees offset, that's kind of all that matters. Yeah. So... I'm sure railroads and manufacturers probably had standards that they like to follow, but yeah.
What's the grand standard again?
I couldn't tell you. You think I get to look at both sides of my locomotive at the same time ever?
What's on your Zuma?
What do you do when you're inspecting in the morning?
Can't look at both sides of it at the same time.
Then you go from one to the other. That being said, I also can't answer that.
It's like, what do you mean, Casey? You could climb underneath everything after staring at everything. Then you come to the other side, and I've already forgotten what I've had for breakfast, okay?
By the time I get to the other side, I'm thinking, where did I put down my cup of coffee? I need that before I keep doing this.
Pretty much, yeah. So, I I think they're right side lead, I think. But I couldn't tell you. Yeah. I'd have to look at a wheel set out from underneath the locomotive. So
I mean, what's on your Zuma?
I don't remember that. I think we made it right-hand lead, but I don't know. I'd have to pull it up in CAD. There's too much crap rattling around in this noggin, and which side of the running gear leads the other side is not critical so long as it's 90 degrees out of, phase with each other. So it's one of those things that I have not stored in me noggin here. Anyway. Let's see. Allison Chains, friendly reminder for foamers, get out of the gauge before you die. Yeah. If we could, chill with the 2816 comments, that would be great. Anyway. Jordan Freeman, please take the Huber 6 to Croatia. The whistle weighs more than the checked bag allowance, and in order for me to bring cameras... my carry-on's going to be full of camera stuff. I'm not bringing a whistle for no reason.
Sure, what's this in your bag? 610?
Yeah.
What?
Pretty much. Devil 6060, you're planning to start a group to restore a steam engine. Is there any suggestion that you can give? Many. If you're going to do that, goodness, come up with your scope right away. What are you doing when you're saying you're restoring it? What's the scope of work? Does it have a place to live? Do you have a shop location? Do you own those things as the entity? Because if you don't, you will be fucked. There are
Cough, 223.
Hundreds and hundreds of examples of, we're going to restore this, and the city owns the engine, and it's at the city park, and then the city said, fuck you, dude, and then, oh no, now our group doesn't do anything anymore, and That's the biggest thing. Own the place that the choo-choo's going to be. Own the choo-choo, or have a very long lease agreement about the choo-choo. Own the place it's going to be in, and clarify what you're going to do from the outset, and make sure that you've got the right knowledge for it. Because it's one thing to just paint it up and make a locomotive in a park look nice again, and that's a very, like, noble and important thing to do too. But that is a very different scope than, oh, we want to make this run again, which requires a whole litany of things that gets very, 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 very deep down the rabbit hole. And you don't want to start something that's going to end up getting taken apart and then scattered 6 ways from Sunday for the next 50 years and take forever to put it back together. So those are the suggestions I would give. Nail down those couple things, and then you probably can be set up for success. So,
and if you want to run it, find a place where you can run it. Like, get operational agreements as well.
Sure.
You don't want to be stuck with an engine you can't do anything with.
Right.
I'd tack on consultant expert there too.
Oh yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah, if you're gonna do anything more than just making it look pretty again, yeah, definitely.
If a guy named John with the first letter of his last name being R comes up to you, run far away.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. Person 723, a steam turbine turning an alternator powering traction motors. Okay, that makes a hell of a lot more sense. But still, then the logistics and infrastructure of everything, you're not going to get a better return than just using a diesel locomotive at that point, right? Because you have to bring your own water with you to boil and make steam and all that.
You also need fuel.
And fuel and all this stuff, so you're adding extra things. But the logistics, aren't there to support it anymore. We don't have water towers every 10 miles anymore. So you're just better off at carrying 5,000 gallons of diesel fuel and sending it, That would work. That system would work just fine. It'd be a great way to generate power. You could even do it with a nuclear setup and then watch all of the alphabet stare at you going, you want to do what? Just don't derail it, ever, or crash it, or anything.
Don't do anything with it. How about that?
Pretty much.
Yeah, so, that's where running the water low goes from slight catastrophe to town-ending event.
Yeah, we don't need a mobile Chernobyl. So, yeah. Anyway, it's one of those things where the logistics of having to take extra things with you is not enough. I mean, the diesel fuel is so much more energy dense and fantastic, and the reason they use it is because of all that. One of the things that put the shop in Seattle out of business, the BNSF, was that they put in a fuel pad at Hauser, Idaho, just east of Spokane. And a train could come into Hauser, locomotives could all get filled with diesel. They could run around, do a whole circuit of Washington State, down even to Portland, everything, come back up to Hauser again without having needed to refuel. And that's up and down Stevens Pass or Stampede Pass or any of that stuff. So, so putting a lot of work on the engines, and they could do that all in one tank of diesel. So, and even then, they could top things off with a fuel truck in Seattle if they needed to. So, that ability versus something that would need to have a ridiculous water tender that would have to fill up quite frequently. It just doesn't make sense. Not in this day and age. Mechanically, that makes a lot more sense than doing all the conversions, though. So, Logan Stombaugh, fireman for 11 months. I think remember something being said about RGS 21 having the number changed to 25 for reasons. Do you know what said reasons might be? It was FNCC first, 21 changing the number to 25. I believe it was already 25 by the time it went to the RGS. And I don't actually know why they did it. We always joked it was a superstitious thing that they did, so anyway. 84, you're mainly just looking for enough information to effectively model it. You can't find blueprints so that holds overall dimensions, so you don't know how big they are. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, if you're trying to model it 3D, that's a whole thing. But I would wonder, the AAR, I feel like they would have to have dimensions for that at some point.
Well, you kind of need dimensions.
Right. Somewhere deep in the bulwarks of some page somewhere. Yeah. But yeah, we'll have to take a look for that off stream. The top chats. Everyone's here. Everyone's excited. It's good to see everybody. TrueNub Gaming, engineer for 17 months. Month being an engineer and 17 of being a member. Time flies. Glad you made it this far, Mark. Keep up the good work. Can't wait to see what else you have in store. Thank you, my friend. I'm pretty excited. I was working on another video, another model train video for next weekend. The last of the 3 in Houston. One's coming out tomorrow. Spoilers. And all 3 of those videos are just a treat. So,
is this the video of the most insane thing you've ever seen in your life?
I mean, they're all kind of, all 3 of them kind of fit that bill, actually. But yeah. Anyway, official DNRGW, 16 months, crazy just like my ex. Well, sometimes it'd be like that. Thank you, my friend. James Simmons, why build giants like the DDA40X better than 2 GP40s? You know, that's a great question. Having a single unit be that big, I don't, there's a reason that they ended up sticking with 4,400 horsepower building blocks these days. So it's the right size for the right modularity. But yeah.
Those built?
I don't know why they specifically built
off the top of my head 60s.
DD40s.
They built DD35s first. And
right.
Those were meant to go, they were like B units, and those were meant to go with GP35s. So I guess they kind of liked the power being in one, because UP liked power being in one unit, right?
That
was like their whole thing.
Right.
They didn't like double heading anything, so they kind of carried that over to diesels with the turbines and, the DD A40Xs, but ultimately they didn't really work out by the time like the SD70 came along.
Right. I don't know what drove them to have that mentality other than
big power,
not
on one unit.
Trusting MU, I guess. So
yeah, that MU was there at the time, and I was gonna say if they came out before MU, the reason would be you just have one crew. But
but MU's ancient. I mean, the FTs came together as MU sets, so yeah. Nice and early.
I guess they didn't want to pay for multiple units with different cabs and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, which ultimately the railroads realized that the best schema for all this stuff is to have everything be basically the same, and then you're the most flexible because you're using it as a B unit, but it's a B unit that could end up being an A unit versus just a B unit, which ends up being worthless. So
they were built from 1969 to 1971, so I don't know what they were doing. Who
knows? UP like Big Choo Choo, I guess. Big train, big wow. Yeah. I mean, I get it, but
they made the big boys.
I don't have the logistical reason beyond that. Like, I don't know what. I understand that was the architecture that they worked with, but I don't understand what was the guiding conversation that made them do it. So,
I'm sure if Pirate Pilot is watching, he'd know.
Probably.
He works on one.
William Adams, good morning from Australia. Would you be interested in some Cursed Australian trains? You've got a file full of abominations. We need to get set up for Cursed Trains Stream 3. People have been demanding it, and I think getting a submission or something set up for it, and then letting folks submit the Cursed Trains to be reviewed, I think would be quite fun. So
make sure they submit them along with the descriptions.
Right, it needs to be like an actual form, because just looking at it, there is some horror to looking at something and being like, wow, this choo-choo is goofy. But having the story behind it is always extremely helpful. So, because then we have a narrative to discuss, and then we can learn even more stupid things. Stares at Russian diesel steam locomotive wombo combo. So certainly, I would definitely appreciate the Cursed Australian trains, but yeah, we'll probably make a Google form or a submission channel or something for that. Because I leave for Croatia in 2 weeks, and I want to do that stream before I leave. So we'll try and schedule that one in advance. Maybe next weekend sometime. Realizes next weekend plans. Maybe not next weekend sometime. I'm not sure when we'll do that one, but I'll try and give you guys a little bit of leeway or notice ahead of time. Pacific Productions, pretty off topic, but did I hear of the Fix TF2 thing going on? It got so big that people actually review bombed the game to overwhelming negative. I've seen a bunch of YouTube thumbnails about that, and YouTube videos are being catered to me about that. I've watched one. I guess I didn't realize that the hacking problem had gotten so bad. But, you know, if Valve wants to fix it, that would be great.
He's too good to notice.
I wouldn't say that. But, yeah. Timerman 765. Can higher quality coal burn slower in the firebox? Sometimes. It depends. Sometimes higher quality coal is what burns slower. Sometimes it's what produces more heat. Every grade of coal is a little bit different. And so sometimes you'll have stuff that burns slow, but is just junk, and it's not breathing right. So it's a little bit all over the place in that way. But certainly some higher quality coals last longer in the firebox while still putting out good heat. Certainly. Road K-Man. What do I think of the engine? Oh, good lord. Do I have to pronounce that?
No.
I assume that it's supposed to be a C with a hat. And so I'd guess that Chesko Moravska Kolbendanek, I think, number 125, lives at Heston Steam Museum in Indiana near Michigan. You got a chance to ride in the cab on vacation. I'm not familiar with the engine, but I can look it up. I've not been to Heston either. It's been on my list for a long time. Oh, it's like a little Henschel or something.
Oh. Okay.
That's cute. It's very European. I don't know if it's actually a Henschel or not, but kind of looks like one. Huh. It's a cute little engine. I know. Okay, that is the manufacturer is CKD. Okay, makes sense. Oh my god, it's itty bitty. It's adorable. 170 psi boiler though. That's cute. That's a cute little dude. It's a weird little guy, but cool. Thanks for sharing. How'd you get a cab ride in that? They had space for 3 humans in there? Anyway. Devil 6060. I've heard that the CP Rail F units can go from Sudbury, Ontario to Vancouver, BC on a single tank of diesel fuel with the Canadian. I believe it. Yeah. Diesel lasts for a while. Timerman 765. Can higher quality coal burn longer in the firebox? Again, hopefully I answered that with your first go at this question. Sometimes, yes. I guess what makes good quality coal is that it produces a lot of heat and not a lot of waste. So low ash content, low junk content. When the coal become entirely fire and entirely gas and it do all the heat is the best kind, making less smoke, less ash, all that stuff. So yeah, sometimes it burns longer, sometimes it burns quick, but as long as it's completely burning.
Would you consider a constant heat output important?
I don't know if anything has a truly constant heat output related to its age, because as the coal burns and pops open, I mean, it's very dependent on size. So I guess if you had a consistent size, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. That's one of those things that sounds nice in an engineering sense, but I don't think you would ever be able to tell a difference or notice it as the person with the shovel.
I feel like I've only heard of that in a book. I don't think I've ever experienced it.
Right. Yeah. Jacob Pfeiffer, look up the C&O Class M1 steam turbine. Yeah, that thing's ridiculous. Thing's huge. We talked about it a bunch in the wheel arrangements are more powerful than Big Boy video. Yeah, that thing's goofy. Super cool. They made like 3 of them. They're wacky. If you haven't seen one, they're nifty.
Wish they would have preserved one of them.
I really wish they would.
Those are neat looking. They're really neat looking.
They're just wacky. Like,
even though they're mechanically like goofy as shit, they're really cool looking.
They're pretty wacky.
I'm looking at it. It said they were expensive to operate and mechanically unreliable.
Unsurprising.
I'm
An
shocked.
early steam turbine electric kind of situation. Yeah, that makes sense. Colonel Cactus, hey Hyce, do you have any recommendations on who I should talk to about historical paint information? Oh boy, good question.
Daniel Gallery.
Well, I was gonna say it depends on what you're specifically talking about, because different historians might all have different reference. I mean, it depends on what exact kind of paint you're talking about and where. Out here in the West, of course, folks like Daniel Gallery, Daniel's pretty good, but Andrew Brandon. Andrew's the true paint person that I'm aware of, but I also don't know what all he knows about everything back east. I know he's the expert on stuff out west, but I'm not sure about anything else. So I don't know if you're exactly what you're talking about painting, but Andrew's definitely a good person to chat with on that space.
I got to meet him a couple weeks ago. He was very nice and very nice.
Andrew's sweetheart, and he puts up with my bullshit quite frequently, so he's good people. It's pretty funny, and God, I've never met someone that knowledgeable about that many things, and he's also got the right to basically file down and sand just about any train car and any museum I've ever heard of. He's the paint guy, so he's probably the one who could get you. If he doesn't know, he could point you in the right way. So, Mr. Terrival? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. My apologies. Union Pacific 9000 or Southern Pacific 5021? I like the 9000. That thing's cool. 5021's cool too, but the 9000s have been in the back of my brain for a long time. It's cool engines. True Nub Gaming, live in Houston yourself. Personally, you know Eddie Carroll. He's one heck of a character and his layout's amazing. Yeah, that's absolutely the truth. Getting to meet him and see that layout was just a treasure. That guy's, he's just fun. He's just sweet. So, Rusty Rails Productions. Is there an advantage to inverted wall shirts valve gear compared to the normal configuration? I don't think so. There might be some slight something in sake of vibration somewhere that's different between the two. But I wouldn't think it would be a huge amount of difference, I guess. So, Brew the Boomer just got off the DNS. You had a doubleheader today. Nice. Doubleheaders are always a good time. Timerman 765. Could it be ever possible for you to cab ride in Pierre Marquette 1225 or shovel coal in it or drive it at all? Be awesome to watch. That's not up to me. That's up to the folks out there. I'd love to go see that thing. Just see it run. I don't need to run it or shovel coal. I mean, it would be very fun to get that experience, but there's a good rule here that we say in the industry, and that is you never ask and you never say no.
Exactly.
So if somebody asks, I mean, oh fuck yeah, we'll go. I'll bring cameras, but I'm not out here trying to get go run them all. I'm content with what I've got. So. Steam Ton 122, just wondering if gray hair runs in your family or if you're like me and you just get it in your 20s and fully gray by 40. I know you're not over 34, sir. You're still young. Yeah, I turned 30 later this year, and I've got a couple of grays. You can see them; they're coming in. It's definitely a thing that runs in the family, so it'll all come for me one of these days. But yeah. Pacific Productions, laughing at the goofy-looking choo-choos is funny, but knowing how and why that possible cursed mistake was given existence is even funnier. Well said, my friend. Yes. So we need to have background for that, so I'm going to chat with folks about finding a good way to get submissions up for that. Bandan, gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, friend. Appreciate you. And William Adams, if you can, do a search for the South Australian Railways Crocodile Wagon. You won't be disappointed. It's a narrow gauge transporter over broad gauge. What? What? Let's take a look. South Australian.
Oh, is this a silly articulated freight car that is broad gauge but holds narrow gauge cars and looks like a gondola? I think I know exactly what this is.
I've Googled it for pictures. I'm not seeing... Unless that's what it is.
Possible.
Which is, I mean, that's basically like, yeah, transporting something else on a wider gauge. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm getting the right thing there. Crocodile wagon. Narrow gauge transporter over broad gauge.
He said it's...
Oh, here it is, yeah.
Photo.
Huh. So it's just a special flat car. That's wacky. That's pretty cool, though. Cheers. Alex Beck, hello Hyce, in your opinion, would a 440 with 68-inch drivers be suitable for a 250-mile one-way run on roughly level track? Thank you for being awesome. That has nothing to do with driver size and has everything to do with tender size. 250 miles that's a haul. One direction. I mean, if it's level and flat, you'll be able to get more mileage out of the fuel and water, but I mean, you're gonna have to take water a bunch of times still. But even fuel-wise, if you're trying to scoot down that railroad, I mean, you gotta remember that even 10 tons of coal is enough for a 90-mile round trip, basically, on the narrow gauge. Of course, that's working uphill one way and everything. So I don't know. I mean, it would depend entirely on capacity of the tender. It'd have to be a pretty sizable tender to get 250 miles out of it in one go. Even then, most steam locomotives, most people try to not go more than 100 miles at a go because you're going to need to re-grease and relubricate everything there. So that'd be my 2 cents there. Train Spotter 454, in your last Montezuma stream, you had mentioned working with Arduc Locomotive Works on a kit. Would it fit on Arduc's custom track gauge or on O-scale track like the rest of his narrow gauge products? I don't have those details yet. Leighton's been working with him on that. Leighton does the merchandise things, and Leighton is still in the UK. I think he gets back early next week. So if you've bought any stuff on the store recently, one, you were not supposed to be able to. Oh well, but Leighton will be getting back to those things shortly next week, I think.
The merch man.
The merch man. We love him. Ezekiel034, engineer for 19 months. Well, you love to see that. Good to see you, buddy. Can't believe it. 19 months. Time's fake. Farm Shop Chronicles, Rock and Stone. Always. God, I haven't played that game in a minute. It's a great game. King of Comedy, I've been listening to a song called Welcome to Team Fortress all week. I think you'd probably appreciate some references in it. I would bet. Yes. William Adams, we ran the Commonwealth Railways C-Class 1,100 miles in a single run. Wow. That's a haul. It's not impossible, but like, there's logistics to that. So, anyway, thanks, folks. Railfan in Great Lakes Central. I see your comments. No, I'm not going to Michigan on the drop of a hat. I've got a big trip planned already that I've got to practice for. So, practice for? Whatever. Plan for.
Ever since the first DBT trip, spontaneous trips have become less of a thing, probably for the better.
Well, I've done some on a couple weeks' notice, but that's usually expensive, and it's usually not easy, and yeah. I'd love to plan something further in advance, but, you know, anyway. I've got 3 weeks in Old Country coming up, so, you know. I don't know, do you do accent or you not? Some people say it's cringe thing. Comments on video are all over the place.
People who say cringe, they capitalist.
It was pretty funny getting the comments on that video.
I say you do accent because accent makes it more immersive.
It was about a 50-50 split between yes, we love it and no, we hate it. Although some of the people who said yes, we love it were still like, it's great, but like, use it sparingly. So I think I will do a series in that game, and we'll save it for the opportune moment. I think it'll be fun. Westside 9 asks, at what point did the DNRG / the DNRGW switch from numbers for classification, i.e. class 125, to a combination of letters and numbers, i.e. K27, and why? Well,
1924.
I was going to say, it wasn't the DNRG and DRGW that switched. It was the DNRG becoming the DNRGW that made the switch.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was,
and then they went through and gave every single class a new classification, which is letter for wheel arrangement, number of tractive effort in thousands of pounds.
right. It made more sense for them to know the power rating than the weight of the locomotives.
Yeah.
Which was
And
what
that
the original thing was.
That roughly happened around 1924.
Right. The organization between DNRG and DNRGW started in 21, and it was 24 that it was finished, if I'm recalling right.
That's when they finished like the full. They renumbered a bunch of engines. They gave them all new classifications, repainted them, etc.
Right. Yeah. So that was a good question, but that was the whole thing. Class 125 meant it weighed 125,000 pounds. K27 means that it's got 27,000 pounds of tractive effort. So.
And it's Mikado.
It's a Mikado.
In my
which is
opinion,
a
the
smarter
best
system.
classification system.
Yeah.
It's the best classification system in my opinion.
Well, Casey's disappeared, did not defend it, so.
Womp womp.
From the 5995, what gave me the original idea for Century of Steam? It wasn't my idea. It was Tristan's idea. It wasn't mine. I'm just happy that I get to help on it. So, KFC Gaming, I have a question about 491, 20, and 346. If I could, which one would I make an oil burner if I could and would? None of them. I wouldn't convert any of them to oil unless I had to. Although the one that would be much better as an oil burner than as it is a coal burner would be 491 because her ash pan is a travesty. And if I never had to clean it out one more time, I probably wouldn't cry.
Anyway. You wouldn't say no.
Wouldn't say no, which, yeah, anyway. Nathaniel Lombardi, 4107. Would it be beneficial for an 060 tender steam locomotive to be streamlined? It would look cool, but to be beneficial? Doubt it.
You won't be able to take any corners ever, and it will do the dance.
It's still an 060, yeah. It's not going to be stable at speed, so it's not going to get any of the benefit from reduction in
you're not going to be able to
streamlining coefficient, enough. So
you're not going to be able to go fast enough for the streamlining to make an effect at all.
Right. There is actually a surprising efficiency upgrade with streamlining on locomotives. And it's a bummer Casey's not here for this question. She'd sent me some great data from the big roads back east, back when they did that, doing experiments with the J1 Hudsons and the K4s and all those engines that the Penzi and the New York Central ran. They experimentally measured and calculated the frontal area coefficient for how slippery the thing was, and found that at the speeds that they ran, 100 mile an hour everywhere, it was actually a pretty good benefit. So they definitely saw that.
The hilarious thing is the most common OXOs, because it's 040s, 060s, 080s, that were streamlined were actually not the tender engines. They were fireless engines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just by nature that they didn't need much anything else.
Exactly. They just wanted them to look cool.
You're better off with the Pacific if you want a high-speed engine.
Pretty much. Four-wheel lead trucks.
Yep.
I'm going to do one more pre-asked question, then we're going to go back to the top chats. I promise I'm not ignoring you guys. From Madge110, what is the best time of year to visit Colorado?
Winter.
No, not winter. Don't listen to him.
Actually,
are you trying to get
Do you actually want to go to Colorado or just get stuck in Denver Airport?
I was going to say, usually fall colors is the prettiest.
Yeah, fall. Because,
September into early October is beautiful, and it's a little bit colder. I mean, the summer otherwise is just fine. I mean, it can be hot, but if you're used to anything with humidity, it's not near as bad as most other places. So, if you're scared of snow and or travel with snow involved, not from about November until April-ish.
Yeah.
And even then, it might still snow in June. So that's Colorado for you. Walrus Tass, I appreciate that it's all the money, but you'd love to for you to get a chance to come to Tasmania and check out some of our preserved rail, mainly 3'6" gauge and a bit of 2-foot. I've been chatting with some folks, hopefully Australia next year if we can make the finances work. That would be exciting. So, yeah, love to come down there. I've never been.
You Australians have taken over.
I want to see the Australian trains, and I want to go experience the land of the Upside Down, and I want to see cockatoos in the wild, because I know that they're a menace, but I still just want to like look out the window and expect to see pigeons and see fucking cockatoos, because I think that would be quite an interesting thing. So anyway. Okay, goodness, chat has jumped. AJ could you please explain why the rods and valve gear would clank around on a steam engine even when it's kind of working hard? 2102 clanks around and I'm curious why. Well, the throttle's on the ceiling and they've beaten the grease out of the bearings.
Yeah.
Running gear, unless it's very fresh, usually makes some clunks just in general. And there's an old school mentality, an old school saying of you'd rather hear them than smell them with a lot of running gear stuff. And that's true in many places. Some places don't have it. But usually if you're under power and everything's very, 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 very like put together and nice, usually it's pretty quiet and not too clunky. That said, unless you have roller bearing rods and roller bearings and all that stuff, normally the grease will get pounded out by the work the engine does over time. And that can be, 30 miles, or that could be 100 miles, or depending on just how worn in everything is, if there's more tolerance, more slop and everything, the grease gets beaten out even more easily, even though the fact it holds more. So, it's not too terribly uncommon that you'll get a little clank bang after it's been running for, even 15 or 20 miles, particularly if it's an engine that's been in service for a while. So, with the 2102, they're running that thing like they stole it. Like, I'm sure that they take good care of it, but they're working that thing to the bone. So, I would not be surprised if they've worn in the bearings a little bit, and every time the main rod's changing direction, it's going to get a little clank bang.
Yeah, there's a reason they run that engine about 7 times a year. But also, as a follow-up question to this for you, Mark, would there be a difference between oil and clank and grease and clank?
Good question. I don't exactly 100% know how oil rods are set up. I would assume it'd be easier to squish oil out than it would be to squish grease, but I don't know if they're more sealed than an oil floating bearing rod is. I don't know. I've only ever dealt with grease rods. So, yeah, I don't know. The nice thing about oil is that it's easier to top off when you've stopped. Grease, you need the grease gun, right? So, that would be the one big difference that I could think of off the top of my head, but yeah. So, anyway, good question. Farm Shop Chronicles, I know your plate is overflowing, but DRG Season 5 comes out next week if you ever wanted to get back into it. Oh, goodness. I do want to, but in order to have videos coming out while I'm gone, I kind of have to... I need to be making more than one video a day for the remaining days that I'm here. So I very well may want a little bit of that as some R&R, but we'll kind of see. So...
Also, keep an eye on Hyce Friends Content Notify if you need more content.
Pretty much. Yeah, unfortunately, Hyce Friends content doesn't make sure that my rent gets paid, but...
That is the unfortunate side effect, yeah. That is very much the unfortunate side effect of that.
But, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But appreciate all you guys. Rucker Lamberson, Hyce, I've required a print of a painting of Rio Grande 461 from an artist in East Tennessee. Like to send it your way or donate it to the Colorado Railroad Museum. Would the museum want something like that, and who should I talk to? That's a good question. The museum may or may not. If it's a print, probably not. Just because that's the museum tends to hold artifacts that are donated that are originals or historic, that sort of thing. And the 461 specifically is not in our collection, though of course it's good representation of Rio Grande narrow gauge. So I'm not sure if the museum would want it or not, and I'm not sure who the right person for the museum would be to talk to either. Somebody in collections, but I'm honestly not sure. I mean, me myself, of course. I like pretty pictures of choo-choos. I've got several around me, but I still have more that I need to hang up myself. So shoot me an email and I'll try and get you put together with somebody who might be able to get you better put in with that. So the new IKB 4472. What do I think of the GWR Express Locos Kings and Castles with 4 cylinders and inside wall shirts gear driving the outside cylinders via rocking bars? What? My brain's gonna hurt. GWR Castle. I've seen pictures of these. I guess I didn't realize they're 4-cylinder. These are 4-cylinder?
The Castles and Kings were all 4 cylinders.
Oh my word.
I think some of the smaller ones were too.
Britain be like, we have no loading gauge, and we don't like big choo-choos, so we're just gonna put more cylinders on the choo-choo we have.
They really like putting 4 and 3 cylinders on things over there.
They really do. 4-cylinder in the space that those locomotives have is bizarre. Rocking bars to the outside generally can cause problems, but obviously they figured out how to deal with that. And I'm sure that there's just some tolerance things on it. Those are goofy. They're cool. What a great way to put more power out of a small package, but good heavens. I'd hate to be the guy that has to maintain the damn thing. So, yeah. Jack Morgan. Let's see. December 1937, ATSF 3461 ran the full 2,227 miles from LA to Chicago without maintenance, only fuel and water while on the Fast Mail Express. That's cool. That's also when they had legions of people maintaining those choo-choos. Yeah, it didn't need any maintenance, but I'm sure at either end needed a little attention.
So, and also 3461 is one of the largest Hudsons ever to exist.
That's a big dude.
It's practically 3751 minus a driver.
I thought that thing had bigger drivers, though. I thought the thing had, like, gigantic drivers.
I think they're 80s on both.
I thought that the Santa Fe had a class of Hudsons that had 7-foot drivers. I thought that was the one. Yeah, and that's the one. Yes. Okay. 3461, its class, has 7-foot drivers, so that's even bigger than 3751. Because you had places to be, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, if you want the definition of Super Hudson, it wasn't the New York Central, as many people think.
The Santa Fe ones. That's cool. And that's apparently the record, was that 2,227-mile trip. That's amazing. Yeah, I would really sincerely wonder how long they could keep that up, though. How many trips would they need to do before going through bearings and things? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not sure how they were.
One round trip.
So, Patrick McNeely, fireman for 11 months. If Brett is there, or if I know the answer, where did he get the Stanley steamer, boiler / engine, and where is the rest of the Stanley? Also 11 months. Time flies when you throw the clock. Pretty much. He only bought the engine. Just the engine itself was for sale. And I don't remember where he got it. Somewhere back east. But he only purchased just the engine. The boiler and the rest of it was not a part of things. So, Matt the Cracked, why were some of the inside of some locomotives' cabs painted mint green? Is that some sort of primer? I doubt it's primer. Everyone seemed to have a different cab color that they like, different railroads, different standards. But green, I've heard a number of different times that it is a dark enough color that it absorbs a fair amount of light. And because it simulates nature, it's naturally, like, de-stressing, de-anxiety-ing, apparently. It's apparently one of those little mental trick things. So it seems like that's why most people picked green. That's the best explanation I've ever heard, but I don't know exactly how founded in science that is. Liam Ellis, Brakeman 5 months. Would an Australia trip include a New Zealand leg? I've no idea. I've never been to that part of the world at all. I've only been outside the States 3 times? well, technically, I've been to Bosnia, Croatia. I've been to the Frankfurt airport, and I will again. And then Dublin, and then Baja California, parts of Mexico. So I haven't made it anywhere down that way yet. So, I mean, if I'm already down there, it would be cool to go see New Zealand. I mean, I've heard it's beautiful, but I don't know. Depends on the logistics of how long the trip gets and what I can afford and all that stuff. So possibly, but I don't know. Jordan Freeman, how good is my David Attenborough impression? I'd like to see you do a K-37 in the wild short doing a David Attenborough impression. I'm horrible at most British accents already, because they're very specific and it's so regional. It's not something that's huge in my wheelhouse. So I don't think I could do a straight David Attenborough if I tried. But maybe. We'll see what we could do. Farm Shop Chronicles, you'll be in Estes, Colorado for about a week in late August. Does the CRM have any events around that time to convince people to make the hour-ish drive? Late August, unfortunately, I don't think so. I think our last Steam for the summer is early August. I think it's the 11th and 12th. Let me go take a quick peek and double check that I'm not forgetting something, but
next thing you know, they spring like, oh, early October, we're doing something.
No, well, we have Harvest Hunt in mid-October, but yeah, we're running Steam the 22nd, 23rd. Colorado Power Day is coming up this month. Nothing in July as far as Steam, but of course the diesel's always running through the summer. And then I think it is, yeah, let's see, August 11th, I think, is it? Or is it before that? Oh, I don't even know if that event's actually on the calendar, the museum's full calendar yet. Matt, if you're watching. No, it's not. Gold Rush Days is not on the full calendar on the website. I'm sure it's somewhere under the events or something. We have too many different calendar sections on this darn thing.
Wait, Gold Rush Days. Does the gold come from a mining establishment?
From the mining establishment? Yes. Let's see. Steam Up Rides. Let's see. If we do that, Dinosaur Colorado. Yeah, Gold Rush Days. There it is, August 10th and 11th. It's not on the full calendar, but it is on the Steam event calendar, which is a separate calendar. We've had one calendar, yes. So, what about second calendar? Yeah. And then Harvest Hunt is October 19th and 20th. So nothing in late August as far as Steam goes. So. Midland 1072 Productions. Hey, Midland.
Hello.
ES&D engineer, 19 months. Time is fake. Trains are fun. Go do the thing. Absolutely. Yeah. Philip R., what was the hardest part about learning to be a brakeman? I, the young single guy, am looking to become a brakeman to keep helping out over at ORHF. The biggest thing that I thought was hardest when I was fresh many, many moons ago is getting used to and internalizing the whole piece of the safety culture about it and just having it be second nature. Because you may not have the perception and the wherewithal to know, should I stand here right now? Should I not? What do I need to do next that's kind of the smoothest thing to do, that's the smartest to set me up for the next situation? And that could be pretty hard to figure out as a trainee brakeman. I always thought I'd have other volunteers catching me as I was fresh. Hey, get out of the gauge. What are you doing with 1 foot, in between tracks right now? Oh, we don't have a whole lot of space, and this is where we're it's a passing track, and this is where we're doing a safety briefing. But still, why are you, don't have any part of you in the in the gauge? So some of that stuff could be the hardest thing to internalize. So best of luck with that, and just keep working on it. WMCRR Climax number 6. Hey, Hyce, just want to say thank you for the good content and ideas. 3/4 show has gotten me some good physics grades. 3/4 savant and limes galore. I'm glad. I loved editing the most recent episode of 3/4 show with Leighton missing with the bowl of limes entirely.
That was great.
That was so fucking funny. I forgot about we filmed them all in one go, and they're so intense that when you get done with it, and then you let it sit for a couple weeks. You come back to it and you're like, I don't remember what in the hell, we said and talked about in these at all. And then totally forgot about Leighton throwing the limes. And that was hilarious. So let's see. Matt the Cracked, would I rather have a replica build of a Rio Grande M64 or 3600?
3600.
Oh,
3600.
That hurts.
Right answer.
They'd both be cool.
3600 is the objectively right answer.
Yeah, and you can't run it as many places as you could run the M64, though.
I mean, it's not like... I mean, this is the same loading gauge. It's just the size.
M64. We don't need more big choo-choos destroying the rails.
I think it would be hard to win. Or hard to lose at that. Either one would be amazing. So
M64 is more economical, but the L131s are objectively cooler.
L131s are cooler, that's for sure.
And they did literally beat the Rio Grande's track to the point where they had to upgrade the rail when they bought them, because they decided, hey, let's buy these gigantic behemoths with like too small rail.
Yep. All right. Back to the pre-asked questions from Zugfan1122. My opinion on German/European whistles. Every fiber of my being is just saying, make a loud shrieking sound.
Do it.
Every single fiber of my, we're just gonna, what's my opinion?
Hey, you didn't cut out that time.
Yeah, it's because I turned down the output significantly. It's fine.
We are not responsible for any hearing damage.
I turned it down for stream. Sorry, Discord, but that's what I think of pretty much every European whistle. Not a huge fan. But I just don't like single notes, so that's the thing. But anyway. From Northwesterner. Hey, look. Hey, buddy. How was my experience at Sound Transit? That's one of the places you're looking for an internship at. Sound Transit was fantastic. I mean, genuinely one of the best company. I mean, I've only worked for so many companies, but one of the best companies that I got to work for. Actually, the best that I got to work for specifically. The culture was really good, and the people were all really solid. So, yeah.
Yeah, Sound Transit's pretty good. I do work for them. I'm not with them, but you know.
Right. Yeah, consulting, fun stuff. That's where there's some ways to get good money doing that, consulting for them, but it's definitely a fun group of people to work with. So
yeah, hopefully next summer I'm gonna try and get an internship with them.
That'd be cool. Let me know. I'll talk to people. Caden Caro, what do you think is the most important / underrepresented part of railroading, specifically with steam engines? I don't know. Most important or underrepresented part
Turn of the century
of railroading. Yeah, that's definitely true. There is that's more history specifically than operational stuff. But yeah, there is a huge lack of some of that early stuff, because a lot of the stuff that we have that's still preserved, everyone's seen in its last state, right? If we were to restore 346 as far back as we couldn't take it earlier than 1914 without significant rework.
Yeah.
Because they did a huge rebuild, so we can't really represent it in that period before turn of century, right? So that's probably the solid answer. There's some engines that are gems, like the Inyo or the Eureka or the Glenbrook or Jupiter, any of these engines that survived and were able to be backdated.
Well, there's also a gap in like 1900 to like 1920. Like a lot of those engines don't make it out.
A lot of that period is underrepresented for
There's
sure.
a ton of super old engines that end up making it out, because like the railroad is like, oh shit, this is still around, let's preserve it. But then like there's that gap between like 1900, 1920 to like 30s, 40s, and 50s, where like a bunch of our superpower big engines are still around, and by then, you know, preservation is sort of a thing, so things get saved.
Right.
Yeah, our NP924 only really survived because she served a backwater paper mill for most of her life.
Yeah, that's kind of how it happens.
Late 50s.
Right. Okay, let's go to a couple top chats here from Sits. Hey, man. Hello, comrades! And so with Russia, Rail beat you! Da.
In Soviet Russia, we
is
beat
also-
Rail. We made A24 reason. We beat Rail into submission.
And then Alex tells, we forgot to start the birds. No, Stream Elements is just garbage. I need to change to Streamlabs or something, because Stream Elements doesn't work with YouTube properly anymore. But we will play the parrots. Alex tells, gifting 50 memberships. I'm gonna pull it up on my phone again, but thank you so much, my friend. Yes. 50 memberships. The chat's become green. Thank you, Alex. Much appreciate you, my friend. Arsa Arkai, Brakeman for 5 months. We love freeloading for 5 months. Hey, look, there we go. Time is very fake. It really is. Let's see. Scrolling back up. The new IKB, 4472. Brakeman, 7 months. Wino Garrett's in the USA. Would have been good in the NG. You know, I don't specifically know why. It's just a different design schema.
It doesn't really make sense with the loading gauges we have.
Right, the Garrett's great
and
for
the weight
packing.
restrictions that we have.
Great at packing a punch in tight loading gauge type situations, but I mean, for us, we could just make the K-37 wider than the entire continent of Britain,
Yeah.
and then it was just fine, you know. So we didn't really need it. That's the
Or like a lot of other narrow gauge roads just didn't get that much demand. They could use those like the Baldwin branch, right?
right.
Their weight restrictions were only allowing C16s to be on it, but the freight demand didn't need any more than C16s on it. So
Right.
that kind of stuff just wasn't needed. Like the Silverton branch, only K28s. Do we need a Garrett on that? No, K28s are fine at what they're doing.
Right. It was either a thing of you didn't need the power, or we could build stuff that was just bigger anyway, that fit the conventional design schema. So that's the piece of it. Sharknut96, has there ever been a moment in railway history of how did that happen? Oh, that's how. But how? I'm certain. Many a thing has been like that. But great, always enjoy watching your shenanigans. Yeah, any of the noteworthy, outlandish things. A lot of the stuff on the RGS, anything that's become
even surviving past
1896. Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing. So, definitely lots of cases of that. Jacob Pfeiffer, Sound Transit sounds like a sound place to work. Yes, it is. Limes.
But the transit times are insane.
Indeed. Glenn Holland, there's now 2 of my Lego Burks on the floor, except you don't own one of them. Age of Steam tomorrow, like normal. Hope you're doing well, Mark. Good to see you, Glenn. Appreciate that. It's gonna be cool. Make it a Burk for somebody else. How about that? Those are cool. You're a local historian. Happy to spend my birthday watching my favorite creators. Happy birthday, my friend. Glad to hear. Glad I could entertain on this, your natal day. See, photography, Brakeman for 4 months. Hey, Mark, how's it going? Museum treating you well? Yes, I had to do a lot of CAD work for the museum this week. We're getting a new tender cistern figured out for the 491, and that was a lot of CAD work. Like, a lot.
So wait, did SolidWorks work, or did it solidly not work?
It did a lot of stupid along the way, but it did in fact end up working. So, yeah. Yeah. SJT Blocky, I know next to nothing about choo-choos other than they are super cool. Your enthusiasm and fun you have around them is infectious. Love the content. Well, thank you. I'm glad, my friend. Glad you enjoy. And Alex Tell, it's been a while since I could send money your way, and seeing as I myself am freeloading on the membership, I felt I should pass it on. I appreciate you, my friend. You don't have to. But I sincerely appreciate you. That you guys, I always say it, you guys are the reason that I can do this. So, really, really genuinely appreciate it. Okay, with that, I think I'm going to try and get through a couple more of the pre-asked questions. And then we'll probably be done for the evening because I've been at this for a long time today. So.
Oh, hey, I was actually able to be there the whole time.
Pretty much. How long have we been streaming? 90 minutes, maybe? I don't know. Oh, almost 90 minutes. So, anyway. From Western Maryland, Railroad Fireball. Planning a trip to Colorado for a bucket list train tour. Itinerary currently includes Colorado Railroad Museum course, the Forney Museum, Georgetown Loop, Leadville Railroad, Durango and Silverton, Cumbres and Toltec, Royal Gorge Route and Tram, and the Pikes Peak Cog. Am I missing something or toss out any as not worth it? Is there a standard gauge tourist railroad in Colorado to ride? Appreciate any advice from the community as well.
Other than the Royal Gorge, there's just in Leadville, Colorado. There's not really much standard
Leadville
gauge
and Royal Gorge are the standard gauge ones. Yeah.
If you go to Cripple Creek, Cripple Creek's pretty good.
Cripple Creek's 2 foot. Yeah.
Cripple Creek's fun. You could go visit the Union Station. There's also the Colorado Springs Depot as well.
Ridgeway Museum's cool as well.
Ridgeway Railroad Museum's pretty cool. There's the Pueblo Railroad Museum that has the 2900 class, which is worth taking a look at.
I think that place is pretty cheap and it's on the way, so yeah.
Of note, if you are going to Cripple Creek, please make like Tripoli sure it's not going to hail on you when you go.
It's Colorado. It does what it wants.
I'm also going to throw out the Fort Collins trolley. That's pretty fun to ride.
Yes.
Fort Collins trolley's cool. Yeah.
There's also the Denver trolley.
That's right. They're running right now too. So there's lots of fun railroad stuff all around, and then there's cabooses to see in literally every town, pretty much. So.
Yeah. There is, if you want to do some obscure shit, there's the Uinta Railroad Museum in Mac. They have just a bunch of random stuff.
Do they? I didn't know there was something out there.
Yeah. This is like a collection of boxcars and a caboose or two. It's not that much, but, you know, you take what you can get.
Good question. So hopefully that adds a couple other possibilities to your thing. As far as taking anything off the list, I don't know if I'd take anything off your list.
Make sure to go to Gunnison and visit 268.
Oh, that's right. Pioneer Museum in Gunnison.
And, yeah, go to the... Kirkcanty and go see.
Oh right.
278
the Black Canyon, seeing 278, and then you can see some CNS stuff if you go to Breckenridge and.
Yes.
There's
go to Idaho Springs on the way to Georgetown. There's CNS 60.
Choo-choos all over the place. Yeah.
If you want to take a detour to Central City, you can see CNS 71. If you want to take a detour to Breckenridge, you can see Horror CNS 9.
Mm-hmm. So all sorts of stuff.
It's totally real Leadville. Denver, Leadville, and Gunnison Rotary. Totally not White Pass.
Totally not. Definitely not. Travis5376. If a solar flare or an EMP shut down or disabled electronics, how feasible would it be to use preserved steam locomotives as transport? I mean, you could.
There is stories of people restoring engines to run in 30 days. So
you certainly could.
Restoring.
You might have to get exemptions. Loosely. You might have to say, FRA, look, there's no possible way we're doing 1472s on all these engines. Just give us this one time. The entire country is shut down.
But your message.
How are you going to restore them without power?
Yeah. How are they going to get here without power? So.
Yeah, lots of little nuance to that. So, you could, but it would be a whole thing. So.
There are more issues to deal with if an EMP knocks out the entire power grid than how will the railroads survive.
Not to mention a lot of your early diesels would also still work fine.
Yep.
You could 5771. You could get her out.
Probably not those.
No, not that. Older than that.
Oh, older. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe a GE 44 ton or two.
Give me your best Alco clank. The more syncopated, the better.
Nevada Northern would be fine. They'd be kicking.
Trains and more random things. Will you put removable weights on the Zoomy Boy so it has more than a sneeze attractive effort? Also, hello, hope you're doing well. A locomotive once used to use so much steam, I guess you could say it uses a piston of steam. I guess you could. I am doing well, thank you. And adding weights would not give it tractive effort. It'd give you more capacity to make it have tractive effort. But adding weights means it's heavier and defeats the purpose of why we're making the small one. So we're already going to uprate it more just to kind of utilize what it already has. So, Moon Watcher 459, how did the Eureka get its name? For the towns and the railroad that it served. The Eureka and Palisade named a lot of things Eureka because they were confusing. Not just the engine. So, anyway, that's a couple pages worth of pre-asked questions at least. So I guess we will go through and do the last of the top chats here and get out of here. Matt the Cracked, did Leighton ever mentally recover from getting caked in plaster and me screaming like a bird? Maybe. We laughed about that for a long time. That was very funny. And that short, yeah, that was one of those things that just lined up and happened that way. So, Chris Kelling, 22 month as a brakeman. Greetings from Manchester, CT. Is that Connecticut? I assume. Is there a Manchester in Connecticut? It's not somewhere. It's not somewhere across the pond, is it?
It's New England, so.
New England. Jordan Freeman, can we get a Freebird solo tonight? They want me to play Freebird. We could probably. I guess we could play Freebird.
Rip the live stream.
I guess we could play Freebird.
First end of stream music time in a while.
Yeah, we haven't done it in a while. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go pee first. So anyway. And then your local historian gifting 1 membership, and then Brobus. Conductor, 17 months. How many Rustins do you think your doppelganger will own at the time Zumi is done? At the rate that he's getting them, he will probably have all of the Rustins that still exist by the time we get going with the Zumi.
Honestly, he's been doing about 1 a year, so...
Good man. I'm so happy for him. That's, he's doing the Lord's work over there.
For those of you who haven't, you gotta go check out this recent video where he just tries the one he bought new. It's soul-soothing to watch something just work.
The epic music began, and I was like, oh yeah, we getting a payoff right now. That was great. It was a great video. And Nitro, a 282 Garrett was considered for Pacific Great Eastern due to the 60-pound rail, but diesels were already on their way. Yeah, that sounds about the way it is. All right, I'm gonna run and tinkle, and then we'll fire up a guitar amp, I guess. So I'll be right back. Entertain the people.
So chat, if you ever need someone to tell you an exhaustive history on Rio Grande diesel paint schemes, I'm your man.
I've honestly been surprised how many different interesting variations they had. I never really paid attention, but my god.
Yeah, there's the solid black with yellow lettering and yellow stripes that people know, but there's also like the earlier scheme, which is honestly so cool, which is just an EMD standard scheme that the BMN had, but like modified a little bit.
Yeah, but basically what you're saying is the paint department couldn't make up its mind.
I mean, they had these paint schemes for a solid couple decades each.
Yeah, the Midland, what it probably is EMD came up with it first.
Yeah, EMD. It was just an EMD standard scheme that you could get in different colors. Like the BMM had the same exact scheme. They just kept it. So the Grand had that. Then they modified that to have a yellow nose. And then they came up with, and then they used that for their early high hood diesel units. So the SD7, GP7, GP9, SD9, etc. They all had that like earlier freight diesel scheme. And then they switched over to using, once the GP30s came around, they switched over to using the more modern scheme that they used for a while. And then they also had the passenger scheme for the F units, the 4-stripe and single stripe.
He never stops talking about the Grand.
I don't. And then there's the I forgot, they used the modified scheme for the RS3s as well, which looks very fucking cool. I think that's genuinely like the coolest scheme ever.
What mainline through the Rockies foaming are we doing right now?
Basically, he's doing the entire Rio Grande video ahead of time, so you don't actually have to make it anymore.
Oh no! It's paint schemes. It's paint schemes. It's part of it. Part of it is understanding the paint schemes.
Help.
They used the earlier thing on the PAs as well, which I think looks really nice. But in between using that and the pass-through scheme for the PAs, they use the gold leaf, which they just kind of painted in primer with like silver, and then just put a gold bit on the front. It's interesting that the prospect of the passenger scheme that we know on 5771 came about because the older, darker F-unit scheme didn't mesh well with the California Zephyr, so they kind of made a new, lighter, inverted paint scheme.
Mainline, I think you're being played off the stage.
Yeah. All right.
A little bit. It's fine. We appreciate you and your lore, but we do need to
I'll save it
finish,
for the video.
finish things out here.
Do Johnny be good.
I think the hopefully the volume level's good down there on the YouTube lands. We'll play a little Freebird here in just a second. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody else. Nickel Plate Road 777. Garrett Shea isn't real. Garrett Shea can't hurt you. Unfortunately, it can hurt me. I think, at least emotionally. Fried Bacon, Missouri Pacific Blue and White was the best color. That's not a bad thing to do that. So, I heard specifically requests for the Freebird solo, and I don't want to find a slide right now, so we will just do the solo if that's all right. It's the best part of the song anyway. Let me make sure that I'm vaguely tuned, though. And here goes the copyright on the stream. Alright, that looks good. Volume balance, let's double check. Anyways, I said just the solo, and then I proceeded to do everything like that, so... avatars. Always gets my wrist. I see a bunch of you guys talking about ads popping up in there. Yeah, YouTube has started doing ads for live streams, and they say that you can reschedule them. And it's supposed to give me a warning when they're gonna get posted. No, so I need to chat with my rep a little bit more about that because that's the whole thing. But in the midst of that, those of you who didn't get hit with an ad, this is my 68 SG. I love it. It's great, but it's got a goofy thing with light gauge strings where half the time I'll end up bending and the high E string will come flying out of the saddle. And that's what happened. And I was like, why? It all feels wrong. What is going on? So, that's the whole thing. Anyway. Turn the Foxicorn. You just arrive and get hit with Freebird. You love that. And Pacific Productions. Bravo, Hyce. Cheers. You can play a couple more. So, stacking logs. Why not? Play our own music. It's a fun one to play. Hopefully I'm in tune vaguely. Something like that. I see all kinds of requests coming in here. Southern Pacific AC9, you almost overdosed a few days ago. I'm glad I didn't, because that was fucking awesome. Yeah, don't do that. Jesus. Glad to hear you're okay, mate. But yeah, please stick around. We got more fun things to do. T12 Productions COS main theme rock version, please. We could try that. That'd be fun. I see somebody requesting In the Evening, Man After My Own Heart. I actually don't know how to play that on guitar. I know how to play almost every Zeppelin tune on drums, but I don't know that one on guitar, and I don't have a whammy bar handy. I have one somewhere, but it's for different whatever. And I don't know. Oh, actually, it's right there. But but I don't know how to play the tune. It's a fun tune though. Jordan Freeman, since season 20 of Deadliest Catch premieres next week. Maybe Wanted Dead or Alive. That is the first song I ever learned how to play on the guitar. Actually, I don't know the guitar solo properly. And then people said Pink Floyd stuff. I don't know much Pink Floyd. I could play Money by Pink Floyd. I don't know how to play. I learned most of Comfortably Numb a long time ago when I couldn't play it. And I probably still couldn't play it if I tried now. But anyways, so Century of Steam rock versions, that's very easy to do because I just play a Century of Steam theme with my electric guitar turned up a whole bunch. And then sure, Wanted Dead or Alive. We could do those ones. That'd be fine. So yeah, I have to go find that though. It's actually probably gonna be easiest if I just look for it on YouTube. Or is it buried on my frickin' PC somewhere? Let's see. All right. I don't remember that song. Wings and Strings wrote that, and I barely got it under my fingers to finish it for the trailer, and it's been almost a year. So yeah, God. Wanted Dead or Alive. Yeah, Virgo Drusky Choo Choo for Marriage Online. I've been remembering how to play that slowly every time I have my acoustic guitar, but we'll see. Midland 1072, maybe something with 12 string. We haven't played that in a minute. That'd be fun. And Rex Anchor gifting 10 memberships. Thank you. Burbs for the Birdman. Brakeman for the Caboose Hop. Garrett Gang Forever and Electric Rockabilly CO's theme needs to go on the B-side to Burning Run's soundtrack release. Hell yeah. Thank you, my friend. Let's see what I can do. Corey Gibson, Johnny Be Good. I vaguely remember that. I learned it for a cover band many moons ago. But it's at least two of you now asking for that. We could try it. And T-Show Productions, Ponderosa, Emerald, all aboard, love it. Sheriff's Rifles theme, I don't know how to play that one at all, new IKB. Okay, we'll do Johnny Be Good, Wanted Dead or Alive, maybe that'll be it. Although Midland wants 12 strings, maybe we'll do 12 string. Oh God, I don't remember how to play this song. Vaguely. Yeah, I've never actually learned all that song. I knew bits and pieces of it, but anyway, I gave a stab at it. It's mostly a blues. Hey Chuck, it's your cousin, Marvin Berry. Okay, 4 sticks. I don't know how to play 4 sticks on guitar either, my friend. I'm glad that you're here for it. We want 12 string. We want Wanted Dead or Alive. We'll do Wanted Dead or Alive. See if I can get through it. I won't get the guitar solo. And then we'll do 12 string, I think. So. Is this in drop D? I guess we'll find out. Never learned that part. God, I don't know that song. It's fine. I know the chords. I learned it the first song I learned, and then I haven't bothered to redo it ever since. So, Tara the Foxicorn. Your kids are gonna love it. Yes. Eric D. Hey, Hyce, check out the choke by the warning sometime. I'll have to. And JSJ Inc. Guess I missed most of the stream. Damn. Really quickly, why did duplexes exist? Did it just double attractive effort or just efficiency? Yeah, more cylinders, more power. If all the geometry was the same, yes, it could double attractive effort, but not always. Anyway, I guess we will finish off with the fan favorite, one of my own tunes. People are saying on 12 string, but it is just 12 string, and my 12 string is downstairs and it's out of tune. I'm 90% sure. Actually, it's in the closet, but it's also still out of tune. Anyway, let me pull up the tune. It's in E flat, so we need to not play on this guitar. What are the odds that any of these other guitars are in E flat right now? What are the odds? Firebird? Maybe? No, that's also in standard. The Strat is in open G. What about the blue SG? Maybe. Hey. Oh god, I need to play this guitar more. Yes, go do the thing. Congrats, Tara. about all my fingers could take. I see we had a couple more top chats because you guys are ridiculous. Corey Gibson, UNSC smells like Kenosha on the triangle. It'd be very boring. And Rex Hanger, Ayo, Rex's favorite tune to bring 2,300 odd tons of acid train down the valley in the fog thick enough to walk on at 0 dark 100 in the morning. Hashtag just meat space railroading things. You'd love to see it. Well, maybe you don't, but maybe you don't see it because it's foggy. But thanks so much, guys. What a fun stream. We need to do the music piece more often. I needed that. That was very fun. I don't play my guitars enough, and you guys goading me to play the guitar is a good reminder for me to play it, because I haven't played this guitar in weeks. I love this guitar. This is once my favorite guitar. It's my baby. And God, it plays so nice. I just need to get it set up again, because the fucking A string's being stupid. But anyway, that's gonna be all. Thanks so much, guys, for chatting in. Thanks for the great questions. Montezuma probably on Monday, maybe on Tuesday. You know how it goes. We'll try and schedule the Cursed Train stream before I leave in a couple weeks. We have literally 2 weeks though, so we will see when we can stick that in and add it to the program here. Maybe Sunday night, perhaps. Anyway, stay tuned. You'll see announcements about that one in the Discord. I want to make sure that's there. So, anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Catch y'all next time.